Finally got the house. Yay. But don't get too excited because yeah, don't get too excited. My dad might roll back up on me in another 15, 30 minutes because when it gets too hot, when you get up there in your 60s and it gets hot as hell, you don't want to be out in the heat all day. Now, this week we're going to do some fun, exciting YouTube videos. Now, Friday I'm going to drop 2 self-improvement videos for you guys and girls. Now, for the men, don't be laughing at the women when I make a video called Sex and Dating Self-Improvement. She is a 4, but she thinks she's a 9. Because there are some women that think they're the, they think they're the you-know-what. And we have to kind of make a video about why girls think they're the you-know-what when they're not. And then I'm going to turn around and make another video so you guys can't sit back and laugh at the women. And it's going to be called He's a 5, but he thinks he's a 10. Because we got some men who complain about the girls thinking they're, Jennifer Lopez and stuff like that. But you got a lot of these guys that don't self-improve themselves that think they're Morris Chestnut or Michael Coulter the Luke Cage, and they're not that. So those videos going to get dropped on Friday. But today's videos are just going to be, as WWE say, wholesome American entertainment. This video right here is going to be called, hold on, make sure that ain't my pops. It's not. Alright, this video is going to be sex with Hollywood actresses. Now, the reason why I'm making this video is because I made one about the supermodels, but we're going to talk about actresses, because I know there's some men that might be saying, well, you ain't never talked about the actresses. So I'm going to talk about some of my Hollywood crushes, and not that I would ever get to date these women, but you guys can relate when you was in high school and college or at work or at the gym, playing basketball or football at the park. You could relate that there were times in your life that you guys would sit there and you would fantasize and you would talk about the possibilities that you could get with this chick if you were rich or famous, or if you played professional basketball, football, or baseball, the possibilities if you could have got with this fine looking girl. So I thought that I would drop this video to explain my Hollywood crushes and some of your Hollywood crushes, or at least come close to it. Yeah, sometimes I get this crystal ball, and sometimes in the crystal ball it shows me things, and then when I turn around it disappears. I can't find it in the crystal ball. Yeah, the powers that be, they're funny like that. They'll show you an image once, and then you turn around and you can't find the image no more. And then I'd be like, what happened to the image? And they'd be like, do the video, stop whining. And I'd be looking at the powers that be like, man, you ain't got to be the cold-blooded. Sometimes I try to go in the dream to find that image, and they kick me out of the dream. That's supposed to be a funny YouTube joke. Some of you got the concept, some of you like, that it don't make no sense, that it ain't funny to me at all. Anyway, let's move on to Zendaya. Now, she's popped up on a lot of men's radar. If you've seen Spider-Man Far Away, Spider-Man Homecoming, and then Spider-Man Far Away from Home. She's popped up in both those films. Now, those are just 2 Hollywood blockbuster films. She did pop up in some Nickelodeon stuff in the late 1990s when she was a little kid, but nobody really remembers that. And then there's the stuff she did in the 2000s, where she did a lot of modeling, she did a lot of R&B singing. So she has a singing career, she has a modeling career, or the pursuit of it, one or the other, and she's an actress. So she does some television and film, and the only reason why a lot of black men were going to the movie theater to watch those Spider-Man films is because she's the Black Mary Jane. Now, I remember there was a lot of controversial when they did the first Spider-Man film, that they were angry and furious that Zendaya was gonna be Mary Jane. So they changed it and said, oh, that's her nickname. And they weren't until the second Spider-Man film when it finally was more accepting that yeah, now everyone accepts her as the Black Mary Jane. So it's actually kind of funny how that turned out. Now, this girl is an exotic beauty. You can tell Zendaya's mixed. Like, you can tell she's mixed with 3 different races, 3 nationalities. I find her very physically sexually attractive. If I had ever played professional basketball or football or baseball, that would be one black girl that's mixed that I would ask out to lunch and dinner or for a cup of coffee. I'm saying if I was rich and famous, if I made enough money. Washing dishes in Santa Monica is not going to work. That's not going to cut it. Let's just be honest. Let's be real men. Let's put our cards on the table and let's be real here. Washing dishes, I ain't got no chance at all at getting with her washing dishes. Now, if I made $50 or $60 or $70,000, I might have a shot. But that's one of my Hollywood crushes. I mean, serious. I mean, ever since I saw her in those Maximum magazines, you know, there were talks of putting her in Playboy. And then ever since I saw her in those Spider-Man films, I'm like, man, this woman is fine as hell. So that's one of my newest Hollywood crushes. So yeah, I like me some Zendaya. You know, I mean, seriously. I mean, if I had my 6-pack back, which I am going to get my 6-pack back, move Spider-Man out of the way and have me swing with Zendaya. So a lot of black men only watch those Spider-Man films because she fine as hell. Most of y'all will agree that y'all find Zendaya physically, sexually attractive. She is mixed. She ain't 100% black. Like, you can tell she's black, but then at the same time, you can kind of tell she look like an exotic beauty. Like, you might want to say, did she come from the Dominican Republic? You know, did she come from Hawaii or another or a Spanish country or European country? Did she come from Africa? You want to say she came from somewhere in them countries or from the islands, because she looked like she might be mixed with something like it or close to it. All right, next Hollywood crush would be Thompson. If you've seen Creed and Creed 2, of course, you look at Thor Ragnarok. You know, you could tell she looked like she's like from London, England, because she got that that exotic look. Even with her, you can tell she's mixed. Now, some people might say she's just 100% black, but not to me, because the accent she got. You can tell for a lot of these Hollywood films that she does, she has to lose the accent. She has to sound American. And then in some movies, they let her have the accent because that's easy for her to, you know, play the character. Like in Thor Ragnarok, she was funny. I mean, the way she was drunk and the way she was acting all bitchy and being fussy and took out Thor. At one point, I thought that was going to become Thor's love interest. Like, some part of me thought the director could have wrote in the script that these two could have become new romantic love interests. I mean, think about it. If Thor couldn't see Jane Foster no more, wouldn't it make sense to make these two love interests? I mean, think about it. You had her in Thor Ragnarok. People whined and complained she was missing all throughout Avengers Infinity War, and then she just pops up like she ain't never left in Avengers Endgame, which was kind of a nice way of bringing her into that movie before ending that phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which took 10 years, 23 films to do. She managed to get into 2 of those films, but was credited of being in Avengers Infinity War. And then her work in Creed and Creed 2 as the girlfriend turned wife of Creed. And then to have her sing in the movie, so you know what that means, right? Later in her future, she'll be pursuing modeling and singing if she's not already doing it. And ever since I saw her in Creed and Creed 2, not just in the Marvel films, I also developed a bit of a crush on her. There are some black men that do find her physically, sexually attractive. Some men do. I didn't say all, I said some. I mean, I like her work in movies. Now, I know some people might say, yeah, but she got woke. You know, she started talking politically. Look, almost every beautiful actress in Hollywood gets told by their agent or their PR or their publicist to say something politically for shock value. Some actresses are serious, and then some are just doing it because, you know, they're just trying to get their name out there. But either way, she gonna be back for Thor 4, and hopefully Hopefully they explain more of her backstory of how she ended up being the only Valkyrie that survived, and how she ended up being the one, and how she ended up with the Grand Master before we got to the movie Thor Ragnarok. Hopefully they explain more of it. And not just start the movie off where she's whooping people's butts and things of that nature. So that's my second Hollywood crush. Alright, now this one I think is almost every black man's crush. And that is Meagan Good. Now I know she's in her 30s, I know she's getting up there in age, but when I saw her pop up in the movie Shazam, she still had a nice, tight, athletic body. A lot of guys were blown away and shocked when they found out it was man, what was it? It was Meagan Good in the movie Shazam, which that was a surprise. I didn't even know she was in the movie. And when I saw that the type of shape she was in, it was not bad for a girl that's in her 30s. I mean, the last time I saw her, she had done this television show that ran for 5 seasons. And then she popped up in some of these, romantic comedy movies, like Jumpin' the Broom. She was in that movie. And that was the last that I saw of her. And even in that movie, she looked at physically, sexually attractive. This is like every black man, black man, white man, Mexican man's sexual fantasy. They love them some Meagan Good. So that's 3. Now my 4th one, people might say this woman's in her late 30s, mid 40s. Why would you crush on a woman like this? It'd be Zendaya. If you've seen Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 and 2, and of course Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame, she got to be in those 4 films. And of course, she's been in other movies like the Star Trek reboot. Yeah, she was in Star Trek 1 and 2. And then they managed to make a 3rd film. And then she's going to come back to do the 4th film to represent her character again. Now, to me, I like the fact that she's turned into a fully fledged action star. And that's what I find about her physically, sexually attractive. She kicks ass. She looks good while kicking ass. To me, if they wanted to reboot Tomb Raider, that should have been the actress to get to play Tomb Raider. And think about it, the movie would have done much better had they just picked her. Like, you could have still got a younger actress to play Lara Croft when she was younger in her younger years, but have it where an older version is telling the story of her younger years. So you could have actually had 2 actresses play Lara Croft and it would have worked. That's why the reboot failed and didn't really grab no one's interest. To me, had they just got Lauren Zendaya, a female action star, it would have worked. But nope, it didn't. Now this one is painfully obvious. People will say that's a given. Scarlett Johansson. I don't know any man in Hollywood that does not have a crush on Scarlett Johansson. Ever since I saw that movie with her and Bill Murray, the guy who did Ghostbusters 1 and 2. Those are movies stuffed with legends. Not that terrible Ghostbuster remake in 2016. Just terrible film. I don't even know why they reboot that crap. But anyway, when they paired them up in the movie called Lost in Translation, it was a good movie. And I watched it because of Scarlett Johansson, of course. They put her in the movie called The Island, which her and Obi-Wan Kenobi was in that movie. Yes, her and Obi-Wan Kenobi was in that movie. I seen that. And then finally they get to where later she would pop up in some more movies. And then she auditioned for the Black Widow. And once I saw her in Iron Man 2, that became my most favorite MC movie of all times. All of a sudden I was like, oh my God, they done the impossible. You got War Machine, you got Iron Man, you got Whiplash, you got Stan Lee in the movie, you got Easter eggs in this film of teasing Thor, and then you bring in the Black Widow. It was like, what more could you ask for as a kid watching this movie? And they gave me the Black Widow. I was shocked. I was blown away. And the shape she got in, it was incredible. She got in the athletic shape. She changed her hair. She had the look. She had the accent. She had that sexual look. And she was whooping people's asses throughout that movie. I mean, I was so shocked. I couldn't wait to see what else they would put her in. Of course, there's that movie called Lucy, which, yeah, I saw it when it came out on cable. You know, I seen it, loved it. Now, some people say it wasn't that good of a movie, but it's Scarlett Johansson, and anything she plays in, I watch. Doesn't matter if the movie's good, bad, I will watch it because it's Scarlett Johansson. That's like my all-time crush. I don't tell women that in high school and college because most of the black women in high school and college be like, what? You like a white girl? You like Scarlett Johansson? Oh, hell no. We're going to get him. So I never would tell my Hollywood crushes in high school and college because you know how black women be getting the tripping out when you say it's Scarlett Johansson. Either case, I like the Scarlett Johansson. Even when they put her in the Avengers film, when she showed back up for Captain America, Winter Soldier, and both those Avenger films, that was 4 films, and then to throw her into Infinity War, and then, you know, to cap it off, Endgame. And then to get her own standalone movie, I can't wait for that. They do that, I'll buy a t-shirt of Scarlett Johansson to commemorate my memory of her playing that character. Like, I'll actually get the t-shirt and we'll sit back and watch it. Next, now my next crush, you gotta like some Latinas. Most guys love them some Jennifer Lopez. I like me Michelle Rodriguez. I think you know why. Because of those Fast and Furious movies. I mean, the first one, she was a badass in that movie. The way she would just punch somebody in the face, be talking back, hard, difficult to deal with. I mean, she did remind me of some girls that I was in high school with that actually, you know, looked like the type of chick would actually do that. You know, it was disappointing not to see her in the second and third film, and then for her to make a return in the 4th film, which I was happy for, and then to put a spin on her character, where she lost her memory, she forgot who she was. They would mention her at the end of Fast 5. She would show up in 6. She would be there for 7. And, of course, she was there for 8. You know, so, and then to hear talk that she wouldn't do any more films if Van Diesel, who's executive producer, does not do what they call more female representation, meaning more females in these movies. And Van Diesel has stuck to his word and gave what Michelle Rodriguez asked for. Now, some fans don't like the fact that she, you know, done it, but hey, that's Michelle Rodriguez for you. I was a fan of her work as an actress when she did the movie called Girl Fight. If you've seen Girl Fight, you know what I'm talking about. It's like a far cry to Ronda Rousey. If you think about it, Michelle Rodriguez embodies some of the stuff that Ronda Rousey does today. I mean, think about it, and they're best friends. I mean, in that fighting sequence, oh man, the way she laid that guy out and said, would you believe me, it was the way I looked and knocked him out. And to have that fight sequence, and then she popped up in some music videos prior to them doing that movie. So, yeah, and then she was in the Resident Evil franchise. I know the Resident Evil movies suck, but, hey, to me, some of the funny parts of those movies was because of her. Like the first film, her talking trash, you know, her fighting. Unfortunately, she had to turn into a zombie. And then they brought her back for the one before the last one. They brought her back for that as a clone, which I thought they could have made it where she could have just escaped, and instead of turning back into a zombie, they could have made it where she got her memory back, she found out she was a clone, and she just ran away and escaped and turned back to the side of good. And then to finish the series off, you could have had it where she turns back into one of the good characters. That's just me. So yeah, I kind of have me a crush on Michelle Rodriguez. Now we get to the last person I crush on in Hollywood. This one may be a big shock to a lot of people. Some people might say, I can see why you have a crush on this type of girl. The girl from the movie Kick-Ass. I mean, come on. I mean, she's grown into an actress. She's now a legal age. I mean, you look at her movie in Carrie. Yeah, the movie Carrie that was supposed to be a remake of Stephen King didn't exactly grab people's interest, but she was in that, and she got to be in the sequel to whatchamacallit, Neighbors 2 with Seth Rogen and what's that heartthrob that every girl keeps screaming about that they just love? Zac Efron. She got to be in those movies. And I was kind of bummed out when they said they were gonna cast her as Catwoman, and then they changed their mind, or they were gonna cast her in some Marvel films, and then they changed their mind. So hopefully, they do it. Yeah, but she is one of my Hollywood crushes. I know some people might be smart in the comments and say, "Oh, you just say that because of Kick-Ass 1 and 2." It ain't just because of those two films. I mean, she did other movies prior to that, and then she did some movies that I didn't even know she did do. Like, she did The Equalizer, right? Where they paired her up with Denzel Washington. When I saw they paired her up with Denzel Washington, that's when I found out the true range of her acting ability. And then they put her in one of these movies that was not only based on a true story, but it came from a book. And it almost won a reward, an Oscar for it. So, yeah, she really has gotten my attention. And then she did that movie called The Fifth Wave, which I thought was a pretty good film, but unfortunately, no one wanted to see a rip-off of Hunger Games and Diversion, so it got one film, and then they tried to make a sequel, and then it fell flat on its butt. And she carried that film. She carried that franchise. She showed that she could be a leading actress. It's just, unfortunately, nobody wanted to see The Fifth Wave at the box office. So, these are my Hollywood crushes. Some of you will agree with the crushes, and some of you will disagree. Some of you will say, well, you didn't mention this person. It's just a video for entertainment. Now, when I go to the Grove and I make another video, that's going to be something completely different. At the Grove, it's going to be one of those sex improvement videos. This was just for fun entertainment. So it's not meant to be taken so literally serious. So if I can't name all of my Hollywood crushes, and I only name mine, and I named a couple of few guys that guys like. So till then, peace.